Some people say you only live once, and the truth is we live every day, and we often forget that. On July 25th, 2017, I was leaving my office early for a dentist appointment. Later that day, I was going to launch the startup I've been working on for the last 2 years. I was so excited, and all of a sudden, a guy making an illegal turn mowed me down in a crosswalk. Everything went white, and the last thing I remember for several minutes was seeing underneath his car and thinking, I'm gonna die. I'm an outlier. The reason you don't hear much about pedestrian versus car accident survivors is because most of us don't make it. Those of us who do are so consumed with trying to resume our lives that we don't have time to talk about it, or we're too traumatized. The other reason my experience is different is that most of these accidents happen when it's dark, in unmarked intersections or areas with no crosswalks. The place I was hit was clearly marked. There were signals that tweeted at you. It was a bright, sunny day. I even made eye contact with the guy who ran over me, and he later told the police he saw me, but he was in a hurry. The extent of my injuries was staggering. My life changed forever that day. I couldn't dress myself, I couldn't bathe, I couldn't cook, I couldn't clean, I couldn't brush my own hair. If I hadn't had the financial resources to pay for my own care, I would have been institutionalized. I had a traumatic brain injury. I had issues with memory and cognitive function. I still have PTSD. I had months to sit and think about what it really meant to be alive. When you're in bed, you get a lot of time to think. And I realized that the two most important words and most often misused words in the English language were yes and no. At first, people are really supportive. Your friends show up, your colleagues rally around you, and then the visits stop after about a year. I realized the importance of yes and no, and I'd love to tell you that that came to me really quickly, and I forged bravely ahead. The truth is I was terrified. I experienced tremendous self-doubt, and there were a lot of days where I wondered if I would be better off dead. But even though I'd been told I might never make a full recovery, I refused to accept that. I vowed that once I had my physical strength back and my cognitive function, I was gonna flip yes and no. Too often we say yes to the wrong things and no to the wrong things. We say yes to jobs that are unfulfilling. They pay our bills, but they leave us feeling empty. We say yes to social engagements with people who drain our energy. They wouldn't be there in our hour of need. Why do that? We say no to the wrong things as well. We say, oh, someday I'll take that vacation. Maybe I'll study a martial art or learn another language. None of us gets a guarantee that we have tomorrow. So I made some big changes. I decided to say yes to leaving an unfulfilling job and traveling the world. I met up with the friends who supported me when I needed them most. I made new friends. I said yes to living at a Muay Thai camp in Chiang Mai for a few months. I visited museums in many countries and saw masterpieces I'd only ever seen in books. I finally said yes, after many years of putting it off, to meeting with my mentor, one of the most famous data scientists on Earth. I started saying no to social engagements if I was too tired or having a bad PTSD day. I said no to flaky friends. I was done investing in relationships with no ROI. I also said no to toxic family members and cut contact. The bottom line is this: sometimes life deals you a really terrible hand, but you can fix it if you really believe in yourself and you say yes and no to the right things. Thank you.
So first, thank you, Heather. Tay mentioned this in the opening of her talk. She talked about responding to people who need help. and it's a choice that we all make. She talked about privilege, but it's a choice we all make in ordinary lives. When do we stop to help and do something? And so there's a part of her story that I have a special thing to share with you. So there was a person who was the first to respond after the accident happened, and he's actually here. His name is David Rhoda, and he's right here up front. Can you stand up, David? Thank you.
Can I just share real quick? So, Dave, I didn't know that. I have no memory of this. I learned when I heard the witness statements. Dave pulled his truck into oncoming traffic to keep the guy from running and to prevent other people from running over me. He selflessly put his own safety on the line and pulled me out from under the car. This is the first time I've seen him, and Dave, thank you for being here tonight, and more than anything, thank you so much for what you did, because if you hadn't, I more than likely wouldn't be standing here today. So thank you.